Hi there, it's me Audrina Lane again, and I'm here to read from my debut novel, Where Did Your Heart Go? And guess what? We're up to chapter 57 tonight. Isn't that exciting? And yes, it should be all in one sitting, so take a seat, sit back, relax, have a glass of wine even, and enjoy. All the other diners in the restaurant were looking at them, and some were other competitors from the competition. Charlie wondered what Arlene was going to say, and hoped it would be good. She held Mitch's hand tightly and could feel his nerves tremble through her fingers. They went through to the reception area, and the girl on the desk came forward, leading them into the conference room, which was huge and empty. Arlene and the other judges sat down, and Charlie and Mitch followed suit and waited. "Thank you for letting me interrupt your celebrations," Arlene said. "No problem," Mitch replied. "Watching you both dance together transported me to another world, and I would have loved you to have had the chance to perform your dance again at the end of the competition. Ken here is currently working on a version of the Dirty Dancing film for release on the stage, sometime next year, and we wanted to give the two of you the first chance to audition for the lead roles." There was a long pause as Charlie and Mitch took in the staggering offer that they had just received. It made the one from the hotel pale into insignificance. A chance for them to tour the country and dance for everyone and earn a living. It was a remarkable offer. "Now you don't have to say anything yet," Arlene continued. "We'd just like to take your contact details and give you ours so that we can get in touch nearer the time." They watched as she fished in her handbag and produced her business card, and Ken did the same. "Do you have a pen and paper?" Mitch asked. "Yes," Arlene said. He turned to the edge of the table and at the same time looked across at Charlotte. "Are you okay?" he whispered, as he wrote his name and phone number and email address down on the paper and slid it across to Charlie. She almost dropped the pen as her hand was shaking so much. "Fine. More than fine," she whispered back. She did the same and pushed the sheet of paper back to Arlene. "Can I ask how old you are?" "I'm 17, Charlotte replied. "I'm 20, Mitch said. "How long have you been dancing together?" she asked them. As they exchanged a glance, Mitchell replied, "About 6 weeks." Charlie and Mitch watched as she swallowed hard to hide the shock. "Well, I'd never have imagined that," she replied. "Just don't stop, as you have a lot to offer already, and I'm sure you will have even more as you grow together." Standing up, she pushed the chair in, and Ken followed her lead. "Once again, thank you for talking to us both, and we will be in touch shortly," Arlene said, extending her hand as they all took turns to shake. Once in the corridor, Charlie and Mitch watched them walk away as they remained rooted to the spot. When they were finally alone, Charlotte let out a scream and flung her arms around Mitchell. He lifted her up and spun her around, grinning like a maniac. Then his lips found hers and they were kissing again, until they broke apart, needing to breathe. "Oh my God, did I really hear that right, or am I dreaming?" Charlie asked, still out of breath. "Well, if you were dreaming, then I was too," Mitch replied. He held up the business cards that had been handed over and read them through. Charlotte touched them. "Yes, they are real all right," she exclaimed. "I just can't believe it. Firstly, the hotel offering us work, and now the possibility of parts in a show that will tour the country." Mitch shook his head. "I told you we were great together," Charlie exclaimed. "I so love you, Charlie." "And I love you too, Mr. Cook," Charlie replied, putting on her best impression of Arlene. Mitch laughed and pulled her close once more, and as the laughter faded, desire reignited. Returning to the restaurant, they noticed Pam and Peter had already gone up to their room, and in the corner of the bar sat their parents with Sarah and Chris. Eagerly they went over after stopping to get a drink at the bar. Mitch put the drinks down and sat in an armchair, and Charlie perched next to him on the arm. Eager faces waited, wanting to know what had happened. Mitch turned to speak, but Charlie beat him. "Arlene has taken our details, and the other guy is planning to turn Dirty Dancing into a stage show and would like us both to audition for the lead roles early next year." Charlie stopped, finally taking a breath. Everyone sat shocked. Isn't that amazing news, she asked, looking around at all the stunned faces. James was the first to respond. Well, what a day it has been. Runners-up in the competition, and now the possibility of work in the new year. Thanks, Dad, it is wonderful. Arlene nearly fell over when we told her how long we'd been dancing together, Mitch reveals. Yes, she's got our contact details and we have hers, Charlie said. Congratulations, both of you. I knew it was special when I saw the video recording that you submitted, Steph said, raising a glass to the two of them. Hey, you won't forget your aunt and uncle when you're rich and famous, Sarah added, raising her glass. As we finished our drinks, Sarah started to yawn and nudging Chris, they excused themselves. Charlotte looked far too bright-eyed for sleep, but she faked a yawn and grabbed Mitchell's hand. We're going to head up too, she said. Night, Mum, James. Night, Dad, Stephanie. See you in the morning for breakfast, Mitch said. I noticed Mitchell place his arm around Charlie's waist as they walked out together, perfectly in step as if their whole life was one long dance. Smiling, I was about to reach for my drink when James grasped my arm and pulled me to him. At last we're alone again, he said, breathy. I hesitated as once again my mind tried to warn me against anything foolish. And I remembered the words Sarah had shared with me in the restroom. I closed my eyes and surrendered to his embrace. I felt his breath catch my cheek as he grazed his lips over my skin and to my earlobe. Stephanie, you mean the world to me and I want to be with you again, he murmured. His lips travelled down my throat and then to the place where the fabric hit skin. I could feel my heart beating rapidly as I tried to control my breathing at his measured advances. I knew he was hitting all the right buttons. After all, he'd been the first to find them. I ran my hand up the back of his neck and into his hair as our lips collided in a kiss so passionate, yet so tender, I wanted to cry out his name. The bar staff called last orders, so we broke apart and just gazed into each other's eyes. Would you like another drink, he asked. I think I've had enough, thanks, and should be going up. Thanks for this evening, it's been one hell of a day all round. He nodded and put his arm around me as we left the bar and took the lift. Once inside, James pressed the button and smiled across at me. Does this remind you of anything, he asked. Of course, I replied, as the image of Maverick and Charlie in the lift in Top Gun sprang to mind. Stepping out, we walked in silence until we reached James's door. Would you like to come in, he asked. I don't think that's a good idea, I said, smiling. But we need to exchange emails, phone numbers, and if we're going to start getting to know each other again. Oh, yes. Okay, I'll come in for a few minutes and we can do that. Opening the door, he ushered me inside. I sat down on the sofa and waited as he found a piece of paper and a pen for us. He plugged his iPod into the television and selected some music. I instantly recognised it as the exact playlist that had been on the mixtape he had given me. I sank back against the cushions, kicking off my heels, and closed my eyes briefly, giving in to the tiredness. So where do we start? James asked as he sat down next to me. I opened my eyes and looked down on the piece of paper, at his email address, phone number, and his home address. I started when I read it. So you're living in your parents' house? He nodded. They have a small chalet-style bungalow at the bottom of the garden. I lost my house to Felicity when we broke up, he said, shrugging his shoulders. I took the pen and wrote down my details, passing it over to James. So I think we also need to talk to Charlotte and Mitchell, and... Is your other son called Darren? Yes, I think we ought to tell them something, he agreed. Perhaps that we're renewing our friendship, but at this stage we don't know where it will lead. That sounds like a good idea, I replied, stifling a yawn. I closed my eyes again and let the lilting melody of Father Figure wash over me, lifting my spirits. The words were healing and making me fall back in love, with love. As the music faded, I sank into sleep. I awoke to weak sunlight pouring through the curtains and blinked a couple of times trying to adjust. Then I realised where I was, and it was not in my hotel room. Looking across in panic, I saw James sleeping beside me, his arm stretched out towards me. I slipped out from the duvet and found my dress lying over the arm of the sofa and pulled it back on. He must have undressed me. Picking up my shoes, I grabbed my handbag and the slip of paper, which I folded and placed inside. Then I tore another slip of paper up and wrote a quick message, leaving it folded on the pillow before I crept from the room. Dear James, this weekend has been surprising for many reasons. I have enjoyed starting to get to know you again, and I look forward to more conversations over the next couple of weeks as we rekindle our friendship. Who knows where it will lead? Fondest regards, Stephanie. And exactly, who knows where this will lead, because we've got this much of the book left to read, so something else is going to happen. And well, obviously I know because I wrote it, but you've still got to find out. Obviously, if you want to find out a bit quicker than waiting for my read aloud sessions on YouTube, then you can pop out and buy the book. It's available on Amazon, either as an ebook for 99p or 99¢, or in paperback format. It's under a tenner, I think, so fairly good value. And you can read ahead and find out what happens next. In the meantime, I look forward to any of your comments. Feel free to get in touch. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter. You can put a comment here on YouTube if you've enjoyed it. Feel free to share it. And thank you for listening. And I look forward to seeing you again soon. Take care and bye for now.